Rascal says I'm sorry. Boy, I don't think this day will ever end, thought Rascal as he turned to look at the clock in the classroom. I think every day I go to school it's longer until that last bell rings. But finally the bell did ring, and the furry little raccoon hurried to get his books and jacket. I can't wait to get home and fix a triple-decker honey sandwich. Boy, am I starved, he thought to himself. As quickly as he could, Rascal zipped up his red sports jacket and put on his favorite baseball cap. He was really proud of this cap because he had won it when his little league team finished in first place last year. He wore it every day to school. With his books under his right arm and his ball glove under his left, he scampered down the front steps and onto the playground. Rascal saw his friend Lunchbox over by the swings. He yelled, "Hey, Lunchbox, what are you doing?" Nothing much. Want to toss the ball around for a while?" answered the young lion cub. Rascal had a hard time making the decision. His mouth was already watering, and he was thinking about his honey sandwich. Finally he said, "Sure, Lunchbox, I'd love to play ball with you." So the two friends began to toss the ball back and forth. Each time Rascal threw it to Lunchbox, he threw it a little harder. Lunchbox did the same thing until both boys were throwing the ball as hard as they could. Then it happened. Lunchbox threw the ball toward Rascal. The raccoon reached out his glove to catch it, but he missed, and the ball hit him right on the leg. It hit him hard. Boy, was Rascal ever mad. He ran up to Lunchbox and screamed, "You hit me on purpose!" As soon as he had spoken the words, his right paw went into a fist, and he punched Lunchbox right in the stomach. This took Lunchbox by surprise. He stood for a minute and then got very angry. "Hey, I never hit you on purpose with your old ball, and you can't hit me and get away with it," yelled Lunchbox at Rascal. Then Lunchbox tackled Rascal and knocked him to the ground. Round and round the two critters went. Fists, feet, and dust were flying in all directions when Sydney arrived. "Hey guys, you stop this right now," yelled Sydney as he moved in and began to separate the fighting critters. Only after a few minutes, Sydney got the fighting stopped. "Now stand up here and tell me what is going on," said Sydney in a stern voice. Both critters began to speak at once, as each tried to tell his side of the story. Finally, Sydney interrupted. "Okay, that's enough. Rascal, you tell me your side of the story, and then I'll hear from you, Lunchbox." Rascal began. "Well, we were playing ball, and Lunchbox threw the ball as hard as he could, and he hit me on the leg on purpose." "No, I didn't hit you on purpose. I threw the ball, you missed it, and it hit your leg," yelled Lunchbox. "And then Rascal hit me in the stomach, and I hit him back." "Is that the way you remembered what happened?" Sydney asked. Rascal was beginning to feel uncomfortable in his stomach like he always does when he's in trouble. "Yes, that's pretty much what happened," Rascal replied. He looked at his friend. "I'm really sorry I punched you out, Lunchbox. I guess I know that you didn't mean to hit me with the ball. I just felt real dumb when I missed it and it hit me. I guess I wanted to act like it was all your fault so I wouldn't feel so dumb." "Well, I guess it's okay," said "It's okay, Rascal," said Lunchbox with a little smile on his face. It seemed like all was well once again in Critter County. The fight was over, and Rascal had told Lunchbox that he was sorry for hitting him. Nobody even had to tell him to do it this time. But as the critters turned to start toward home, the wise little squirrel said, "Hey, wait a minute, fellows. Could I have a word with you, Lunchbox?" The little lion brightened right up. "Sure, you can talk to me. What's up?" "Well, Lunchbox, there's a very important lesson for you to learn here. I don't want you to miss it," said Sydney. "You don't get in the way of Rascal's fist." Lunchbox chuckled. Sydney said, "It seems that Rascal made a couple of mistakes. First, he thought that you hit him on purpose, and then he slugged you in the stomach. He was wrong on both counts, like he said. But, Lunchbox, you were wrong too," said Sydney. "How could I have been wrong because he punched me first?" questioned Lunchbox. "Well, the Bible warns us against acting like that. We are to treat people the way we want to be treated. Now listen to me for just a minute. You did nothing to Rascal. You just threw the ball expecting him to catch it. It was not your fault that he missed it and then ran to you and hit you. You couldn't help any of that. We cannot control the way other people act, but we can help the way we react. When Rascal hit you, you should have obeyed God. You should have loved Rascal and been kind to him even though he was being mean to you." Lunchbox scratched his forehead above his right eye. He looked a little confused. "You mean that I can't help what other people do to me, but I'm supposed to behave even when they don't?" "You got it," said Sydney with a smile. Lunchbox turned to Rascal and said, "Well, I'm sorry too. I shouldn't have hit you. Will you forgive me so we can be friends again, old pal, old buddy?" Rascal got a big grin on his face as he said, "Hey, we're friends for life, and that's more than 1,000 years. Well, Rascal did it again, didn't he? He got into trouble again. Do you ever feel like you just keep getting yourself in trouble and you're not even trying? We all make mistakes. The important thing to remember is to make it right as soon as we can. We need to say, 'I'm sorry' to someone like Rascal did to Lunchbox. These are two important words to remember. The Bible tells us in Matthew 7:12 that in everything do to others what you would have them do to you. That means we are to treat others the way we want to be treated, regardless of what they do to us. We need to work at being understanding and not so quick to accuse someone for something he did not do. Have you had to say 'I'm sorry' during this past week? Has someone said these words to you? Write and tell me about it. It will help Rascal when I share your letter with him."